What's up, everybody? I wanted to get on here today to talk about my last race. I just completed 50 miles out in Pittsfield, Vermont. This was the Blood Route Ultramarathon, about 8,500 feet of elevation gain through the Green Mountain National Forest. This was a race I actually signed up for 2 years ago that I ended up DNFing, meaning I did not finish. I got to 31 miles plus 2 extra because I took a wrong turn during that time, and then it started downpouring and I didn't make the time cutoff to continue on. So I wanted to kind of recap the event. It's been a month since I finished. Been kind of, I don't know why I've been postponing this video, but I wanted to kind of reflect on it, talk about why I did it, talk about how it went, and the process that it took me to get to the finish line. But yeah, so I signed up 2 years ago before my daughter was born. I had been doing a bunch of different races ever since I basically left college, and I wasn't playing sports anymore. I missed the, athletic environment. So I wanted something to do to kind of look forward to, train for. It's always been a part of me to be at an athletic event. So with that said, it started with a 5K, then I went to a 10K, then I went to a half marathon, then I did a marathon, and I did a half Ironman. And this was something that I thought would be something, potentially that I don't know if I'd finish it, right? Something that I had a little bit of doubt about when I signed up for. And that to me was intriguing. That kind of got me fired up. It got me pumped up. Like, wow. I remember going on the site and like reading the description of the race. And I was like, wow, this is going to be fucking hard, right? Like the elevation, I'm not used to. I've never run farther than 26 miles in my life. So basically doubling that distance in a day, plus climbing, plus it's in a trail, right? It's not on the road. So there's a lot more unknown, that could be happening during that time. And then the other element is, running that long, how should I be eating? What should I be drinking? That type of stuff. How do I train for it? So I live in a city for the most part, right? So there's not a lot of trails around here. We have a park that has some trails, but not a lot of climbing around here in the town that I'm in. So I ran a lot of miles on the road, and I feel like my fitness, like my aerobic fitness level was where it needed to be when I did the first trial 2 years ago. But mentally, whether it was just not really knowing what I was getting into, when I got out there, I wasn't really pushing it that hard. I was just kind of like, wow, okay. Kind of walking through it, walk, run, climb, and just being in the unknown. I didn't really run my race the way I felt like, I wanted to. Then couple that with a wrong turn and it just messes everything up. When you're in the trails and you're climbing, 2 miles can make or break, your finish, your result. So that day didn't go the way I planned, but I'm grateful for it. I look at failures as a way to learn, right? An opportunity for you to learn more about yourself and also ignite something inside of you, so that, you can go back at it again and hit it again, right? Anytime I've failed in my life, something beautiful has happened right after that because I learned from it, right? Something inside of me ignited and I got back to work and got better. So the following year, my daughter was born, and I didn't, at that time, I wasn't in the right headspace to think about running an ultramarathon. I would just focus on taking care of my family, make sure my wife is good, and get everything together. So another year later, this past year, signed up for it, and I said, this is the year. Training plan out the window. I just ran about 5 days a week. Didn't really go out in the trails at all, though I was running, strength training. I also do a little bit of martial arts. So I do jujitsu 2-3 days a week, but didn't really train as much as I would have liked. I'm also running a business. There's a lot of stuff going on in my life. So to run 2 to 3 hours a day, 2 to 3 times a week is sometimes not really feasible with my schedule. So I have to do, 1 hour blocks and fit it all in. You got to make do with what you have and the time available that you have, because I'm training clients and, I'm taking care of my family and going home, spending time with my daughter, coaching in person, training myself. It's a long day. So got to make the time. So I either get up earlier or I squeeze in an hour in the middle of the day, depending on what my schedule's like for that day. Anyhow, so training didn't go as well as the first time that I ran the race, right? So the second time training for the race, I feel like I didn't train as much as I did the first time. But anyhow, race day came, right? It's like, hey, you signed up for this thing, right? You got the Airbnb, like, we're gonna go here and we're going up to Vermont, like, let's go do this thing, right? There's no backing out now. Combine that with my mom signed up for her first, trail race out in Vermont as well. She did the 10-mile course. So I had her there, my whole family, my wife, my daughter, stepdad, and my brother and my sister. So got up there. I was a little nervous, not gonna lie, going into it, because the first time I finished 30 miles, but I didn't get to go to the second part of the course. So I had no idea what that second part of the course was gonna be like, those last 20 miles. However, my mom was doing one loop on that second part of the course, and I knew she was gonna finish well before I got back, because I had to do a 30-mile loop. Came back, and so I finished the 30 miles. I actually was feeling pretty good after the 30 miles, pretty strong. Got done much faster. I knew the course, so I knew where I took that wrong turn last time. That first 5 to 7 miles, I was really pushing my pace. I was running like 9:30 out there, which is crazy on the trails. And I knew when the climbs were coming, so I knew how to kind of mentally prepare for these different segments of the race. And I felt really good on that 30-mile course. Obviously a little bit of dehydration, started to cramp a little bit. And I knew the second I started to feel any type of cramping, I had to get some salt in me, I had to get some water in me, and I had to make sure I kept eating throughout that time. But nonetheless, got back from the 30-mile loop, feeling pretty strong, plenty of time, to kind of regroup at the base camp, the aid station, talk to my family, talk to my mom, because she did the 10-mile loop that I was gonna go do. So she was like, oh, it's fine, just one little climb, and then the last 6 or 7 miles, you're going down and you're coming back. It's like, oh, that's fantastic. That's what I like to hear. Mind you, I had to do that twice, because remember, 20 more miles to go to make it 50. So, changed my socks, got my water, hydration, refueled everything, put everything in my pack, and headed back out there for the first of 2 10-mile loops. Got up there, was not like anything that she described it, but she was playing a mind trick on me. She wanted me to feel good going out there. which thank you for doing that, Mom. Got out there. It was a pretty technical course on that side. Very rocky, a lot of winding turns and, climbing up and down. And it's pretty tough. But when I got back from that first 10-mile loop, and I was at mile 40 altogether, I was like, all right, I have to do that one more time. I got this. My family's there. I knew I had it in me to finish. So I didn't really feel that great though, coming into that first, that last transition at that 40-mile checkpoint. My legs were tired. It's the farthest I'd ever run in my life, right? I'm like, wow, I gotta go do that one more time. I gotta head back out there again. So that last aid station, I had all these conversations on my head, like, all right, you're gonna be able to do this. How are your legs feeling? And you start to, your mind starts to work against you. And I think that happens a lot in life. Remember, our brain is designed to look for, trouble, threats, things that are going to potentially harm us, right? And that's how our mind works. So, reminder for you all, when you're having that conversation in your head, know that there's something better and greater out there for you to do. Do not let your brain tell you that you shouldn't go do it, right? Follow your purpose. My purpose was to go out there and finish what I set out to do, right? So I said, I'm gonna go do this. I'm in pain. This sucks. I've been here before. I know what pain feels like. I know what discomfort feels like, right? I've been in situations like this before, be it mentally, physically, emotionally. I know how to get myself out of this, right? Because I've done it. So said goodbye to my family. Said I'll see you in another 10 miles. So that took me about 2.5, 3 hours to do with the climbing. I'll see you guys before the cutoff. So that last 10-mile loop, I was like, I'm just finishing this thing. Like, I don't care if I have to walk it, right? And I had enough time at that point. My legs were destroyed though. Like, my knees were banged up. I still, a month later, I still have a little bit of pain in my knee. So I'm just icing it. But yeah, my legs were really banged up and really sore and beat down. But again, that's to be expected, right? You're signing up for an ultra marathon, right? You're gonna be fatigued. You're gonna have soreness. You're gonna feel uncomfortable. You're not gonna wanna keep moving forward, but that shift is why you do those things. That's why I do those things. I like to have that shift in my mind where like, this is hard, but I'm gonna continue to move forward. I'm gonna endure this pain, right? And that, getting to the finish line, actually I think there's like 35 minutes left until the course cutoff. I rolled in, I think at like 8:20 p.m. and the cutoff was at 9 p.m. So it was dark out, headlamps out, everything. Came in and finished the 50 miles. All in all, that obviously crossing the line was the best feeling. But to me personally, as weird as it sounds, I love the feeling the day after. Like that just feeling of completely beat down and like totally exhausted. And like, it was hard for me to walk for 2 days. So I have a gym and I told my clients, like, I'll see you guys in 2 days. I just needed to like completely recover, ice my legs, relax. It was really hard for me to walk, like literally hard for me to walk. So after about a week, I was back to my normal self, but I was kind of banged up for a little bit. So I'm a month out from what just happened. This happened a month ago. And my goal obviously next is 100K. So that's gonna be 62 miles. And then my goal for next year is 100 miles. So just wanted to kind of give you guys a recap of what went down. And that feeling of finishing actually what I started 2 years ago, even though it took 2 years, right? Life happens, right? I had a baby girl, things came into my life, and I had to switch gears for a little bit, and then I came back to it, and then finishing it, right? Being a finisher to me means more than anything. Doesn't matter what time I finished it in, you know, my pace, whatever, what place. I finished it. I finished what I started, right? So that's it for this video. Just want to give you guys a recap, an update, and I will keep you guys in the loop for the next challenge that I'm going to endure. All right. God bless.